And the reason why that is because they have huge potentials for returns. There was another social media person I followed who just bought his first house. Okay? They just bought his first house. Guess how old they are? 18. They just graduated. Right? And that's all because they sat in a room on those nights when they had nothing else to do, and they live streamed and they built that audience and they did what they were supposed to. So for now, you can take out your phone, post on social media, hey, I'm here at this class, and this is what's going on. And I've given sample posts as to doing that. So I'm going to take a picture, so that way I can post on social media. Because it's so vitally important, right? There's so many things that social media have done now for a lot of people that TikTok is one of them. I just worked with somebody who was trying to figure out like, hey, I have a very unique product, right? I don't have a lot of time because I have a family, and I'm trying to identify who my market is. So I said, okay, cool, great. Do you know what TikTok does, right? Like TikTok has a hyper-focused algorithm. And when I get into the news of what just happened this past week or so with AI, it probably is the most advanced AI tool out there now, right? Just because when you watch a video, that algorithm has determined that you are the audience for that video, right? So if you're making a very specific product, and you know that you only got 30 views, those 30 views means that that audience was only meant to see your stuff, right? Unless it was a mishap, which is pretty rare, that audience is super focused on what you're doing, right? And that person I was working with was an engineer, right? And that engineer was just like, I don't have time for 6 months meetings. I don't have time to do this. I'm looking for people who want to purchase my product right now. And that's what we kind of work on, right? So, introductions, my name's Chris. I help people get out of their 9 to 5 by going into digital nomad lifestyle and building simple businesses that they can automate, right? While I'm reading this, if you want to scan this, unfortunately we won't have a lot of time to kind of go through the room check, but you can scan this and then I will show you what's in the room. I teach digital nomad lifestyle here and the rising trend of one-person businesses every month at Canva Factory, right? So I help people kind of get into those trends, those businesses, and I build remote teams for people. Why? Because you need an assistant, you need a team to do those kinds of things. I just found I think it was like a 21-year-old who's building AI employees for businesses, and I think they just closed their third round of money, which I think puts them at around like a $2 billion valuation. They're out in Silicon Valley, and in case you haven't been keeping track of that whole world, there's a lot of young guys who are ditching college and going straight to Silicon Valley and building these AI companies, and they're getting huge investments right away. And when I say right away, this is all within a 3 to 6 month period, right? And they're moving very fast. Some of them are doing some really crazy things with social media that have some people just like, hey, why did you do that, right? One guy is actually putting out billboard ads all around San Francisco saying, hey, you don't need to hire humans anymore, I can replace them. And many people are like, hey, why are you doing that? That sounds like you're stealing jobs or preventing people from getting jobs. And it works, right? Because you got a lot of money to do that. So what I want to do is take a look at the audience, right? So what industry do you work in? So we have engineering, creative, venture capital, fintech, vibe coding, digital marketing, web, health tech, real estate, and then did y'all continue? It should have gone further.
We did.
It should
It
have.
says please wait for the presenter to change slides.
No. It should have already gone through. I've done this before, so that's terrible. But anyways, I mean, I read through all your feedback and everything, and one of the things that I noticed was everybody here wants to meet other people that are doing this, right? Everybody wants to meet other solopreneurs. And so for that, we're going to go right into the one-person business news. And so ByteDance released an open source seed model on Hugging Face. It is free to use. And that seed model has a token, a window of about, input is 512K, right? So it kind of beats out a lot of other competitors in that space. You can go over there, just search ByteDance open source seed model on Hugging Face, and you'll go directly to it. You can download it, start using it, and it's completely free. Most other companies right now don't come anywhere close to what they just offered. But at the same time, ByteDance is a different company, right? nobody was thinking that ByteDance is a competitor to OpenAI or Google or any of these things, and yet they've been doing this for a long time, right? So why did they do it? If you know the AI space, you should know the answer. Who also released a big model that kind of scared the US companies? DeepSeek, right, exactly, right? So they released one that basically challenged DeepSeek. And so DeepSeek now has a competitor because Alibaba also released their own models as well, right? So they're in a huge competition. In case you haven't been paying attention, I think the number of research papers that China produces is like, what, 300 or 400 per year now, and the US is nowhere near that number, right? So the output of what they're doing is just miles and miles ahead of what we're doing. And so that one right there, you could probably go in, use it, start training stuff on it, anything you want to try. Now, some people would say, but it's a China model, like why would I use it, right? It's up to you, right? I'm just here to show you this information, however you're trying to build stuff, right? If you want to keep paying for stuff, by all means, you can pay for it, right? But this one is free, and you can test it out. So, there's another guy who did a research project. He did a timeline AI forecast. He says that by 2027, more people will lose jobs, and that the AI models that we currently have right now will sort of start to supersede most people's intelligence, abilities, skills, stuff like that. There was a lot of pushback on that because many people are just like, well, how do you know for sure? Like, is this true? Is this not true? And so it's kind of like it's up in the air right now, right? Some people say that yes, it will happen. Other people say it's another 15 to 20 years, which means it will still happen, right? It just, but you can look up this site. It breaks everything down. It goes through the research paper, kind of shows you all those kinds of things. So check it out. It's pretty interesting. So just like I said before, New York Times has put out a lot of articles. Lots of young guys are swarming into San Francisco just to build AI companies. In fact, it's so huge over there that you can go over there, find a AI build house, and move in with roommates and say like, hey, I'll take the room upstairs, I'll do this, and I'm gonna start coding and building stuff. And what's crazy is that a lot of these guys get connected to investors right away, and then they start hiring a lot of people from there, right? And many of these guys are under like 25 years old. And it's pretty fast what's going on. So you're probably thinking, great, where are the girls? Well, the numbers are still very low, but because of that, there was an all-female AI house hosted this past summer in San Francisco, where these two girls from Stanford came in and said, hey, why don't we build an AI house for female hackers that want to build AI companies, right? So they brought in all these venture female associates, talked to them, sit down with them, kind of did training with them, and they worked through all their stuff. Out of the whole girls that did the whole program, it's already finished by the way, two stayed back to continue working on their companies. The others went back to school to kind of continue to see what else they can build. So, any comments, questions about that so far? All right, so let's keep going right there. So Microsoft CEO of AI, which is not the CEO of Microsoft, but the AI division, right, Mustafa Suleyman, says right now it's too dangerous to study AI consciousness. He doesn't really think it's there, and many people say it's not there, it probably will never be there, and others kind of say we probably should study this because we have really no idea how this stuff works. So it's an interesting debate as to what's going on, because for some people they say it's not human, it's never going to be a human, and it's just code, and there it is, and stop worrying about it. Yes?
Is AI consciousness like general intelligence, AGI?
You can kind of think of it like that, right? Like, it would be more like ASI, artificial superintelligence, you know, it might go a little further than that, or eventually like singularity, right? But it's so nebulous right now that they're just like, what exactly are we looking for, right? So they're not quite sure about that. So these are the parts right here that I'm hoping will kind of stick to you, because this is why I teach this class. So fossil fuel plants are being forced to stay open despite those who are already planning to close. And many of these data centers that we're building here in Texas are going to be forced to run on fossil fuels instead of renewable energies, things like that, that they were meant to be used for. Texas Gas Service for Austin has said they will be raising rates for the 3rd time this year. And governments plan to cut more funding for medical research, so your health insurance is expected to go up next year. Why am I mentioning this? What does this have anything to do with this class?
Is it an opportunity to automate more things and
That's a good way of looking at it.
capitalize?
Okay, yes. So the days before, it used to be like I ran a side hustle because I had extra time on my hands. And many people thought like, hey, cool, you run a side hustle, that's awesome, I make an extra few bucks. Now the costs for living in Austin alone are so high that many people just cannot afford to stay here, right? How many people you know who are like, I gotta move to South Austin or I gotta move to East Austin? Whereas now it's like you have to start running a side hustle to start covering bills. If you look at the median cost for like a home here in Austin, it's like 600 to 680. Even if you make $350 a year, guess what? You're not buying a house, right? It's pretty crazy. So that's kind of why I do this, because like with AI, look how many people are building one-person businesses, and they're doing it super fast, right? So building those passive income streams is not necessarily a luxury anymore. It's sort of becoming you gotta have it. All right, so why do people keep asking AI for? Have you all watched these videos? Because they're pretty popular. Cody Sanchez made one. Hey, I asked AI to make me as much money as possible, and what do you think the results were? They're terrible. The comments were just like, these are horrible ideas. Like, this is terrible, right? And so Dan went in and said, like, I asked AI to make me money as fast as possible, and again, he came back with ideas that were just like, oh, yeah, that's not gonna work, right? And then another one was just like, hey, help me build a 6-figure online business for free, right? Because that's what people are trying to figure out, like, what is it doing? So a lot of these ideas that came back with was affiliate marketing, right? Dropshipping, things like that people have already been familiar with. Who here has tried dropshipping and failed at it? Great, thank you for saying that, right? Many people will be too afraid to admit they failed, but that's how you know you're trying, right? So dropshipping is not easy because it's so saturated, right? But again, it works in a certain way. There's a reason why certain people who dropship make so much money and others are just like, it didn't work, I tried it, I poured a lot of money into it, and now I gotta pay these loans, right? Affiliate marketing. Who here has tried affiliate marketing? You're just like, man, I just don't make enough money in affiliate marketing for this to work. And yet so many YouTubers have affiliate links all over their description boxes, right? So it must be doing something. But this is kind of what people are trying to ask for. And it goes back to costs for everything are rising right now, and they're looking for all kinds of ways to make more money. So what parts of your business should you automate versus do it yourself? And this is just a simple list, right? We'll get into the bigger stuff, but I kind of broke everything down to what parts should you automate? Newsletter organization, right? You don't really need to sit there and organize your newsletter format anymore. AI can kind of take care of those kind of things for you. Digital creation, so products, templates, things like that, stickers. Voiceover stuff. Who here uses 11 Labs? Right? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Like it works pretty efficiently. It only needs about 10 seconds of your voice to be able to replicate the whole thing, and then you can just do voiceovers for all kinds of content creation. Podcast scripts. Who here has made your own podcast with AI? Cool. Did it work? Was it fun?
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay. Which one did you use?
Ooh, it was a few months back. I don't remember what tool, but it generated like a 2 or 3 minute video just from, yeah. It was
Okay.
pretty good.
Yeah. In fact, now people are using Notebook LM to create these podcasts, right? What other things are people using Notebook LM for?
I use them for explanatory videos based off our learning docs.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, what else? Come on, you gotta come up with something.
Studying for school, you give it all your classwork and it doesn't pay. Generate study guide. That's what I know kids are using it for.
That's true, yes. In fact, you can take chapters from your textbooks now and turn them into podcasts, right? That's a way different way of learning than when I went to school, right? And so you can take that kind of stuff. You can take training manuals, and now you can turn them into videos and you can turn them into podcasts and make it a lot easier for people to absorb the information, right? So how can you turn that into something you can sell as an automated business?
Streamline it.
Okay. How would you do that?
Well, the idea that popped in my head when you mentioned, because you're using it for school, is maybe create some kind of tool that makes it easier to, just makes that flow easier.
Okay.
To where someone can maybe take a picture of their textbook and then it somehow automatically through a workflow or whatever.
Okay.
Maybe email them.
Yes.
Going off of that, a lot of textbooks are digital, so you just make it an extension and have it just scrape the page and turn that into whatever you want it.
I think there was a guy here in Austin, he couldn't get a job to save his life. He went to get an engineering degree, applied for like 500 jobs, couldn't find anything. So finally he sat down with his friends and said, hey, we're gonna make an AI tool that does citations for research papers. Now, I kind of had that when I was in college and I thought like we were done with that. And this guy went and built an AI tool that does citations for research papers, and he went and raised like $5 million from investors to build that whole company out. And he's here based in Austin, and I think he's like 23 years old. And I think he's either in that building over there. But that just goes to show you like how fast things move with AI tools, right? You may think like, hey, that tool's already been built, we don't need it. What the differentiator is how good are you at marketing, right? Like their product may be superior to yours, but if your marketing gets more people to use your product versus theirs, you're gonna win. I mean, that's just how it works, right? So we have website design, lead capture, content distribution, and data gathering. Who here has used Tyler to build websites? All right, I'm gonna go into kind of a demonstration of Tyler, but they were sort of the first website creators where you can just type in your stuff and it just basically generates your whole website for you based off of what you're looking for. So payment invoicing, customer onboarding, generating reports, a lot of that stuff can just be automated, right? And many people are already doing that. Things you might want to consider doing yourself: branding, product design, talking to your customers directly, creative direction, quality assurance, and if things aren't working, you should probably pivot, right? So, any comments, questions on that? Yes?
How is it Tyler different from Lovable?
So Tyler so how they were trained on their models was they took some of the best companies that ever existed, and they went in and said, hey, we're gonna train them on, let's say, 3M and Intel, and whatever you type into this box, we're gonna help generate your website based off of all that information that was given, right? And so this way it helps organize, puts correct stats, anything like that that your business might be. So one of the examples that I watched was, hey, I run a surfboard rental shop over in Santa Monica, and I rent surfboards to people, right? So I went in, built a really cool website for surfboards, and everything was automated, created cool stats, cool information, and it was 3 pages, and it was done. It took about like 30 seconds. So, what are people building with Lovable? Before I go to the next page, what do you think people are building with Lovable?
Websites.
Okay.
DocuSign killers.
I need specifics here. Like, I know it's a website, apps, right? But I need like specific products. What kind of stuff do you think people are out there building that's where the money is?
Habit trackers.
Cool.
SEO.
Okay. All right.
DocuSign killer.
Okay. Anything else?
AI video generators.
Everything.
You're close. You're very close. So these are some of the ones that people are building right now. So I went and found this list of like, they went through all these products that people have been building on Lovable. And they found that here are some of the top ones that are kind of getting some attention. And I kind of broke it down. So the first one, Dr. Lens, advanced AI-powered skin analysis and detection. Because I'm pretty sure you go home and shower, like, what is that? And you kind of need something to figure it out, right? Because it's 9 o'clock at night, you can't exactly call your doctor up and be like, hey, you know, or maybe you have good insurance and you have a tele-doctor, I don't know, right? Warranty trackers. So now you can take all your warranties, basically scan them with AI, it takes it, puts it into a spreadsheet, organizes it, and now you can just talk to it like, hey, is this under warranty? Boom, it's done, right? And that's what people are building right there. Workflow management systems. So you can go in, if you're building out all these workflows, eventually you're gonna be like, wait, what flow did I work on again? And that helps match all your requests, your reports, and problems you're running into, things like that, right? Critical protocol. So basically it's a dad joke generator, and I didn't realize we needed that, and I guess that's a thing, right? You know, because why not? So there's gym apps, which these are really huge. I mean, like if you're trying to target a market that makes money, gym apps is where it's at, right? There are so many young guys out there who want to get in shape, they want to look good, and they just need something that works. Who here knows Brett Malowski and the kid that he interviewed about his gym app? Nobody. Great, perfect. All right, so basically what happened was he met this kid who doesn't know coding. He sat down with ChatGPT, which is, I think at the time was like 4, and he's like, no, I'm gonna make this thing code an app for me because I know it can do it. And so basically what happened was he built an app and he had to go through all this stuff. Come on in, right, there's plenty of seats up here. And they went through this whole process, and he discovered that gym apps is where it works. So here's how his app works, because this is the part that makes it super easy for people to use. Guys can take a picture of their body and say, hey, this is what I currently look like, and then they can take a picture of what they want their body to look like of some bodybuilder, and then what the app does is it goes in and creates a workout plan for you based on that. and then it goes week by week and your progress. So every time you're done with the gym, you take another picture, and then it tracks all your progress and says, hey, you need to adjust this, do more reps for this, do more things for this. And I think the app was like $3.99 or $4.99, right? And that app alone makes them around like 600 to 700,000 a year on a very simple model, right? Because guys, for those guys, many want to look very good, and they need something to help them with that. But again, that's not a very difficult app to build. It's literally just using AI vision models to look at an image to figure out like the plan, and then it looks at the end result and it just adjusts from that. And then that's it, right? Croc shells basically just takes natural languages and just turns it into shell commands for Windows and power servers, things like that. So again, this right here just tells you like, hey, people aren't trying to build the moon, they're just trying to build simple things that work, right? So with Lovable, you can go in and start building something that you have a niche market for, that you can sell to, and even if you have 500 subscribers and they're all paying, let's say, $10 a month to use your stuff, is that still a good return for a small business? Right, it works, you know. So, we're gonna try this, alright? This is digital products. Who here has made digital products? Cool, did it work? Was it hard? What did you use to make digital products with?
Lovable.
Okay, what did you make?
I run a company called The Codeinator. It's a Duolingo for vibe coding. It's an
Okay.
educational platform, and then we're also an agency that builds people's products on Lovable.
Okay, alright. So, how would I take this that I have right here, because I know it's all just text for you, right?
Yeah.
But we need to see the visual stuff, right? We need to see how it kind of works. Now, one of the things I do want to point out, and this is the thing I hate, and I've already talked to these companies about it, is many of these workflow automation environments don't have sandboxes, right? Which means that you really cannot go in and play with a lot of stuff because you have to pay for everything, right? And I've told a lot of these companies that said, hey, I need an environment where I can test things and try them out and see what's really going on. Because if you've used Make or Zapier or N8N or anything like that, you pay up front and you have no idea what's really gonna happen, right? N8N is probably one of those where I get the most requests for to build stuff on, but you're paying right away.
You have a 14-day free trial.
Yeah, I know, but I need it forever. Right? Okay, that's the point, right? So the problem also is the fact that like if I go in and build in Make, which I'll open up in a few minutes, is it free to use Make?
No.
No. What else makes Make so expensive? Well, compared to everybody else as well.
Tokens.
Tokens, yes, that's right. What else? Every module is a what?
Service you gotta pay for.
Yes, that's right. So if I need a module for OpenAI, I have to have a paid account in OpenAI to get the API key, right? If I need something else, I have to have a paid account to access that module to use that workflow, right? So if I'm doing 50 operations inside a workflow, that's a lot of paid accounts I am paying for just to run one operation. So that return that I'm running, it better be worth it for me to be paying that much money on one automation workflow. So let's go into Make. So I have Make set up over here. And what I've done is, who here has used the AI assistant inside Make? Okay, great. So what I've done right now is I've kind of gone in and said, hey, I want to organize something for, where is it? Oh yeah, that's the first one, right? Okay, so this one right here is digital products, okay? So I basically copied that whole workflow, and I went in, I pasted it, and I said, hey, I'm trying to build out this workflow in Make. And the nice thing about Make's AI assistant is it will build a workflow for you, right? It will show you how it's connected, what it's doing, all that stuff. The thing it won't do is that I can't run it. I can't do anything because I have to connect every little thing, like I said, right? I have to go get the API key for ChatGPT, and I believe Stability AI, and then I can connect that to my Gmail stuff, which is free, right? So once I do all those things, then I can run this automation thing, and it can go through all that stuff, right? So can you give me an example of how you could sell something like this that makes digital products?
Like that. Wait, what do you mean by that makes digital products? That,
Right, it's going to generate a digital product for somebody, right? Like, so let's go back to the example of photo AI, right? Like, I upload my photos, I get a finished product, I get a headshot, right? And I pay for that, right? I want a digital product, I'm going to type in what I want, and I'm going to get a digital product emailed to my inbox, right? Yes?
You could niche down,
Okay.
target a specific niche.
Okay. Any in particular?
I mean, like anything, right? It's like limitless possibilities, but like to your point about like photos, like I mean, you do fitness, you do yoga classes, like I don't know, just anything you could just.
You can do
go-
stickers, you
yeah.
can do coloring books, you can do all kinds of things, right? So if I'm gonna go in there, I can create digital products. If I have a very specific niche or market that I'm doing, I may not be tech savvy, but I know I can go to this one website, I can type in what the digital product that I want, and outputs an email, and I get my stuff, right? And I can have a whole stack of these things, or I can just have very one nice little product that I pay for. And this is kind of like showing you what happens. So kind of how it works is somebody goes to the website, they type in what they're looking for. So the Google Forms is waiting for a trigger. That trigger automates a process which goes to OpenAI. OpenAI looks at that trigger, which is the instructions of what that product is. It refines everything, and then it gets put into a Google Docs, where it takes that information, and then it goes to Stability AI, and then it refines everything, and then that also goes back to Google Docs, and it gets emailed to you, right? So it's not complicated, right? But it's something that you can create that produces passive income on the side. Any questions?
What does Stability AI do?
So Stability AI, what that one's going to do right there, it's going to act as a visual creator, right? So ChatGPT is going to come in, it's going to look at everything, it's going to create the content information, and then Stability AI can act as the image generator, right? If what you're doing is image generation, right? It can also act as something else if you don't want images, right? It could just be a template for an Excel sheet, it can be something else, right? Again, it all depends on what kind of digital products you want to sell. There are people out there who sell template samples on Etsy, right? And they make like 6 figures a year just selling custom templates. And now, this was before AI, now you can have it go in and just generate stuff, right? Like, hey, I run a small business and I'm a car mechanic shop and I need a spreadsheet that manages my finances. And all of a sudden you get an email that just shows this document and you upload it to Google Docs and there's all your spreadsheet ready to go, and it's $100, right? Right off the bat. Any questions?
How are people discovering these digital products? Like, I mean, if everybody's making this, like, it's a lot of noise, right? Like, you still have to compete and find these products. Is it still SEO, or like, is it through some other mechanics?
So before I answer that, what do you think the solution would that be? Like you
Social
said, there's a lot of
media.
noise.
Solving a real pain and problem.
Okay. What else?
Marketing.
Okay. Right. You can run TikToks. Like that's what a lot of people do. They run TikToks that just kind of showcase what's going on, right? Like you're trying to beat that noise. So you can, yes, you can run Google ads, you can run Facebook ads, you can do all kinds of things. Today I was talking to somebody who was just like, hey, I want to build courses, or I want to make YouTube videos, but I can't get any traction. And I said, so what's stopping you from running Google ads for your videos? And he never thought about that. He just thought like, I just post it and it does its thing, right? I said, no, you can run Google ads for anything, right? So the same it goes back to this. You can have an Etsy shop and you can go in, run Google ads for your shop and just drive traffic through that. And a lot of people do that. So does it cost a lot of money to drive traffic? What's the starting cost for a Google ad?
$1.
$5.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's $5. What is the $5? What is the reach for $5? It's like 10,000 impressions, right? If you do $10, I think it's like 100,000 impressions, right? Like, again, impressions don't mean clicks. It just means somebody viewed it. But again, it's something, right? It's just getting traction to your site. And if it's something to where like, hey, I'm going to invest $20 every week or every day, and all of a sudden you start to notice like, hey, I'm bringing in enough revenue from my products to make this worthwhile. Now you see why it's a $1 billion industry for ads, right? Any questions? All right, so next one. So this one right here, I think is probably the most profitable one that I talk to people about a lot, right? Data-driven product web scraping. Let me bring this up a little bit. Sorry. Oops. There we go. So this one right here, I think is probably my favorite, right? I'm going to show you a tool that probably does this automatically for you. But give me something to where like I can scrape data, turn it into something pretty, and sell it and make a lot of money. Yes.
Great business ideas.
Okay.
Like a stock market tracker.
Okay.
And you can sell it to like, I know people do like groups on like different social medias, they have groups, and they sell that group with their information and their trade.
Okay. Anything else? let's make it super easy. Like, I just need to make money. Okay, I just need to make money.
Could track nutrition and ingredients at restaurants for people with dietary restrictions.
Okay, very good. Alright, so if I search like, hey, I only want vegan or gluten-free restaurants, and I go in there, it gives me just that list.
It's actually
So,
Nobody do that. Nobody do
It's
that.
fine. He's already trademarked it and everything. Alright, so let's go in here. I'm gonna go back to this one right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna go back to this guy over here, and I'm gonna say generate workflow.
How is Make different than NAN? Is it just like an easier no-code version of it?
So NAN charges per workflow, and Make charges per operation.
Well, what if you do a local version of NAN?
Yeah, you can probably do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, but it has less applications on NAN, right? So compared to Make. So Make has, I think, the largest showcase for operations.
Like plugins and stuff?
Yeah, plugins and applications and things like that. So.
Okay.
Just to understand, like with Make, you don't have to have any paid accounts with all these providers. Make automatically does that for you.
What's that? Say that again?
So you said like for a workflow, you need to have all this multiple payment accounts, like paid accounts for ChatGPT. With Make, you don't have to do that.
No, it's the same for all of them. Like you have to have paid accounts in order to connect them, right? Like if I want to be able to use like the OpenAI ChatGPT, it's going to ask me to connect to my account, right? Which is the API key that I need, right? So it can track my token usage. And if I don't have a paid account, I don't have an API key, right? So I can't use it, right? And that's where Make and all these other ones get super expensive real fast because you need to figure out like, if I'm going to build this, is it worth building it first before I have customers, or should I build it after I get customers, right? And that's where the trade-off comes in. Because it can get a little tricky. So I'm going to see if it's going to adjust my workflow right here, because it should already do that. So while that's doing that, I'm going to be bringing up this guy right here. And this is probably my favorite tool. So this guy right here basically scrapes the web for you, okay? And he can go in, he has pre-built robots, he can do any type of scraping. Let me see what his templates show right now. Yeah, there we go. So I can go in and extract hotel reviews, I can go in and extract full text and capture screenshots from any websites, I can extract top companies from Zoom info, extract salaries based from Monster, information, things like that. So digital publishing, if I go into here, I can extract top headlines from ESPN, extract top posts from Substack publications, news from hackers. Why is this important? Like, what does this have to do with like book scraping or anything like that? Or how do you turn it into a business?
These workflows you can turn them into videos, images, and post them.
Okay. Right.
This is your data source.
That's it. Right? So how would I take this and turn this into a newsletter? Like if my audience is guys who are into sports, right? Do I need to go in and look at every website and go and write the stuff myself? No. Right now we have AI tools that can really monitor all these sites for you, track all this stuff. And I can tell you right now, I've already met guys who have basically built apps that just organize scores for goals.
Does this get around like websites that don't allow scraping, like LinkedIn doesn't officially allow scraping? Can you use this service to scrape LinkedIn?
You can do LinkedIn, it's different, but one of the features about this is it sort of uses vision.
Right, yeah.
So it monitors the site. Like it literally looks at the site, right? So it sees what's going on, and then it takes that information and sends you an alert, if that's what you're looking for, right? And that's what makes Browse AI really powerful, because in my opinion, like, I can use this to track all my comparator pricing, right? And as soon as my comparators change their pricing, I can have a notification sent to my dev team or something and say, hey, adjust all the pricing. Or I can just have AI go ahead and adjust the pricing, right? And because it's monitoring all this stuff, just like Amazon's been doing for a long time, it has dynamic pricing now, right? So if I'm from another country, the price he sees is not gonna be the same as the price he sees, right? So the prices change. You know?
What if what you're looking for is not there? Will they build something for you, or they'll?
Yeah, and you can go in, and if it's not there, then you can use frameworks, templates that they've kind of built out for you, and you can kind of like piece together certain things, right? And just because like they put so much effort into building out these templates, there is a lot of stuff that you can go in and kind of piecemeal together, right? If I want to go in, I think they have one for just for Best Buy, right? So you can go in here and extract product listings from Best Buy. You can go do entertainment. You can do intellectual property. It is very, very extensive what you can do with this site. And what I tell a lot of people is, you can go in here and build like 10 newsletters that are very niche, and you can just sell information, right? And you can have AI write articles about all these things, and you can just be sent out every Friday at 9 a.m., right? Or however many times your users want it. Probably one of the most easiest business models out there that I've talked about that many people kind of already done, but many people kind of laugh at it is mommy groups. Like mommy groups are huge, right? Like if you create a newsletter that just tells mommy groups like, hey, here's every mommy event to take your kids to this week, I guarantee you parents will sign up for that, right? Because now that parent doesn't have to go look for stuff. Every Sunday night they have a list of events. Hey, this is where I can take my 3-year-old, this is where I can take my toddler, this is where I can take my 8-year-old, and I don't have to think about it, right? Because I can take it, and what can you help make that parent's life easier? If I have a little button in the newsletter that says, add it to my calendar, right? And now all of a sudden they have a reminder on their phone, and the mom is happy, right? It doesn't have to be expensive, which goes into the next point of this digital scraping stuff. I don't know if y'all pay attention to newsletters, but like newsletters that are priced between like $2 and $5, they make a killing, right? Because it's not a lot of money, but it's simple enough to where like I will subscribe to that just because it's not a lot of money,
Right.
but it provides tons of value, right? So all of a sudden, if you have a $3 newsletter that has 10,000 subscribers, is that good money per month? Most people here would agree, right? If you're trying to get to the $50, $100 newsletter market, you better be providing something very interesting that's unique, right? Otherwise, keep it simple. You know. Yes.
Can Browse AI or any other tool scrape information from Facebook groups?
I believe so. Yes. Let me see if I can find Facebook
Policy. Not against policy with Facebook.
I mean, you can just have a monitor stuff.
I've been trying to do that, and I haven't been able to.
I just built a scraper to get into that.
Did you?
Yeah, it works a little bit.
A little bit.
To scrape the Facebook group?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was.
Yeah.
With Browse AI?
No.
No.
We built one internally.
Yeah, you would probably have to go in and let me see.
We use Firecrawl. Have you heard of Firecrawl?
You probably have to be there though with it, and then browse it.
Yeah.
No, you can like approve access and be like, I authorize to like view and edit.
So you have to create it. You have to create a user, and then the user group has to accept it in order for that to.
Yeah, I mean that might be one of the things. Yeah, I mean you probably have to do like a pre-built one to just go in. If it's a closed group, you might have to either get access to it or something.
Yeah.
But it just needs vision. Like it just needs to be able to see stuff. You know, if that's what you want. Yeah. If not, you could probably like do something with Zapier or Make and go in and create like a connection to that group and just have it monitor it. But again, if it's a private group, you'll probably need to get in first.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it built the one right here. So if I bring up this one right here, so this is my little web scraper. So out the file, will go and grab what I want. It'll iterate what I'm looking for, send it to a spreadsheet, organize it in Google Docs, and then email it to the customer. You know, so something like that. But again, you know, there's a lot of like web scraping tools out there that you could probably go through and build out something even better, or have Perplexity or one of the like the $200 model from OpenAI do that kind of stuff. So here's the other part that I thought was really cool. AI assisted micro courses, right? So we talked about online courses, right? Building out that whole platform. But what about micro courses? Who here has heard of that? Yes.
It's like 5-minute videos.
Exactly, right? So what if I went to a site that says like, hey, build me a micro course that covers this, right? And you can have a workflow that kind of goes in, builds out that whole thing, and basically just emails you your course in your inbox.
Can you expand that
Yes.
to the presentation?
No, sorry.
That's okay.
So one of the things that, let me see if I can, yeah, there we go. So here is another workflow right there. So you can have it go in and build out course templates, but what I like about this one is that I can go in and type in my prompt that I want to learn how to run a doggy daycare, right? And it will go in and generate the entire course, it will create the templates, do all those kinds of things, and then I will get an email in my inbox that just shows like, hey, here's the course. I paid $20 for it or $50, right? And it's all custom generated, you know. Some people really enjoy that, they like that idea, and other people don't know that exists, right? So it's the same thing with like newsletter. You can go in there, build a site that just says, hey, I want a custom newsletter that covers this, and it goes out, scrapes all that information, and then you get a newsletter that just is custom built just for you. You know. Any questions, comments? So a lot of these like here that you can go through, you sit down and kind of like build out, hey, what is that workflow going to look like in Make or Zapier? And it can kind of customize all those things for you inside OpenAI, Complexity, or whichever you prefer, you know. And these right here work for any person, right? Like if I'm a car mechanic and I want to train all my new employees on what should be going on the floor, I can create a micro course that they can take and then they can enroll on it at home and boom, done, right? If I run a trucking company and I need to do kind of training with this kind of stuff, I can make it my own like little micro course for those kinds of things. So, yes.
Well, I guess one question as a whole for like Make I have is, I've used NAN a lot and I just hadn't ever heard of Make before, so I'm interested to kind of dive into this platform as well. But I would have like different brains running at the same time, so like one would be doing video gen with VO3, one would be doing copywriting, and one would be doing OpenAI image gen. Can you build those same like that high level functionality with the Make?
Yes, so inside here, so like this is my environment for building, right? So I can go in here and build another template on top of this, and I can have it as like a double check, right? I can have another brain go in and say like, hey, when it gets to this point right here, double check that the information passing through is correct, right? So if it is correct, just keep going. If it's not correct, stop, adjust it, and then send it through, right? So you can create multiple like workflows on top of this to help work with each other.
Does it have the auto posting capabilities like with LinkedIn and stuff where it can get access to your profiles as well?
It can do those kinds of things as well, and as long as you give it access to your LinkedIn account, it can post, it can do those kinds of things, right? So there's a lady, her name is Helena Liu, which I'm sure some of you might have seen in my previous classes I kind of talked about. So let me kind of show you what she has done. And I always tell people like the workflow that she created can make you a lot of money. And if you update it today, then let's take this one. There we go. Okay, so here she is, and yeah, videos, so popular. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So
after a long day of work, I'm sure the last thing you want to be doing is figuring out where you're going is look for.
All right. So let me see if I can go right here. Yeah, there we go. So in this little video right here, you'll notice that she automated social media posting, right? So I can drop something into my Google Sheets. That Google Sheets will trigger and go to OpenAI, right? It will summarize that article, and then it will get posted to all my platforms, right? And I can have social media automated like that. Now this video was made probably, what, more than a year ago. It could probably use some updating. But what could I do with this to make money?
Copy it.
Okay, yes?
Sell it to companies who need marketing, like small businesses who, like if there's like 2 people working a small business, you sell this product to them, that way they don't have to worry about marketing.
Right. You basically sell this to companies.
Lead generation.
Because all you're doing is downloading the template and selling the template. That's all you're doing, right? They will go in, they will plug in their own accounts, they will plug in their own API keys, do all those things, right? So because of that, this is a very powerful tool. And if you go in and you say, hey, make it better, it can add way more stuff to it, right? If you want to add more platforms to it, right? If you want to generate YouTube Shorts, it can generate YouTube Shorts as well, right? So now all of a sudden you've automated that entire process. What normally would have taken somebody a couple of, maybe 2 hours or so to post on all of your stuff, yes, we can automate things like scheduling, but this right here does it within like a minute, right? And it's done, it's posted. So what makes this also powerful is I can run this multiple times a day, right? Now all of a sudden my clients are happy because now all of a sudden they're posting, or the system is posting 20 times, 30 times a day, so it keeps them active.
What tips do you have for like fine tuning and training the output and like tweaking like the prompts that's in like the ChatGPT brain, for example?
So I would probably say like get a dummy account for social media and plug this into those accounts and just keep practicing and see what the numbers look like, right? So for example, like if I have TikTok connected to one of these, I'm gonna go in and just schedule what it's doing. And I'm gonna practice and practice with my prompts and see like, is it working because it's 9 AM or is it working because it's 7 PM, right? Is it working because the audience that I'm posting to only interacts during lunchtime, or is it working because my audience is on a different time zone, right? And now you're looking at all kinds of interactions with this stuff because you can keep running it. Because it's a dummy account, it's okay if you delete it because now the accounts that you're getting paid for to manage, now you know what to put in.
Well, I guess maybe reframe it a little bit, like in terms of like the actual like individual outputs of each time you prompt. Like every time you start this make brain right here, like let's say you don't like the Instagram photo that it makes because it's not cropped right.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, like how do you fine tune those little specifics within the brain?
So again, you could go in, like, let's say you put another like workflow right here, and you can add in another one on that link right there. It says like, hey, check this to make sure it's cropped correctly, and make sure that this image comes out looking like this, right? Like you have parameter guidelines on top of it. So it's like another brain watching that workflow. And if it looks correct, then you say yes, you can continue. If it doesn't, go back and readjust. You know, and that's what I like about Make. Just like Zapier, you can kind of do the same things. You can add different levels to those things, and you can kind of watch it. You know, so. To me, this is probably like one of the most powerful like workflows I've seen, just because it's so simple. Yes.
How does it compare in complexity to NAN?
NAN is probably a little more simpler, right? One, the cost is lower, because when you run NAN, it's just one cost, right? It's one workflow. But here, you're paying for each module that you see here that operates, and that cost can add up real fast. And that's why I always say like, the complexity for NAN is probably a lot lower. Like you're gonna probably enjoy it more, but you're gonna pay up front for a lot of that stuff first, right? Like Make, I can go in and use it as many times until I'm ready to actually run it. Then I will start getting charged, right? And so I can kind of play with it a little bit, but NAN you're paying pretty much right out of the box after your 14 days, which
14 days trial.
Right.
Can you explain the module aspect?
So modules basically are, this is a module, that's a module, right?
Yeah.
So each one's a module, and if I click this and I trigger it, right, that's an operation that I get charged for, if it goes to here. So that's one operation.
Whoa,
right?
charged. Okay.
Yeah, and if it goes to here, I get charged, right? And then it's gonna go here, so I get charged 4 times, right? And then it's gonna keep going and I get charged again, right?
Okay, versus NAN, you pay for that up front.
So NAN, this would all be one cost.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So that's why I say when you use stuff like this, Make is bigger in terms of how many applications it can access. But if you know you're not going to be using 7,000 applications and you know you're only going to be using less than 20, yeah, definitely use NAN, right? But if you know you're building massive operation workflows, this is probably where you're going to want to build it. You know? That's why it has a full Make Academy that's completely free to take, and you can sit there and get certified in all this stuff, right? And I always recommend get certified in this stuff because it's pretty complicated, but once you can do it, man, you can make a ton of money with this stuff. You know. So there's another one. Hold on real quick, yeah. There's another video she has where, yes, this one right here, automate 1,000 YouTube shorts with this workflow.
I don't know about you, but lately, whenever I log into my social media accounts, I see a lot of these vertical videos that are less than 60 seconds long. YouTube have been really pushing their shorts, and the end users are.
Anyways, basically she shows the workflow at some point, but she shows you how to automate 1,000 YouTube shorts in a very short period of time, and it just generates and it connects to Canva, and it does that whole process, right? I don't know if you need 1,000 shorts in like 20 minutes, but it can be done. Yes.
I was going to say for simpler flows, I mean, you could just build something yourself and not pay. Right? If you have the capability.
So now that you mentioned that, this is something that I wanted to bring up here, and that is the templates. Alright, so I'm gonna discard charges right here. So just like I showed you over there with the other Browse AI, inside here you have public templates, right? I can go in here, send a Gmail email from a new Google Sheets row, right? Sync Facebook link ads with Google Sheets, right? So every time I run an ad, make sure to put it into a spreadsheet so I can keep track of all my ads that I'm running, right? You can add a webhook data to a Google Sheet, so that way anytime a webhook is basically goes out into the internet, it's looking for something, right? And wherever you connect it to, once it finds it, it puts it in Google Sheets, right? It's a very simple workflow, you know? So these are some of the examples, like summarize a website content and create social media posts using Browse AI and ChatGPT, right? So it's gonna go out there, it's going to summarize website content that gets posted, right? You may not keep track of certain sites, but because it's watching for you, it can go and summarize it and just post on social media, right? And that's what a lot of corporations have been doing for a long time now. Yeah. Yes?
If everyone's creating these, like, going back to like the 1,000 YouTube Shorts example, because like it's very almost templatized and so inauthentic content, how do you build in your own authenticity into this?
So now it comes down to, are you looking to make money or are you looking to be authentic?
True, but if you want to build a company, are the best companies authentic?
Best companies make the most money, right?
I mean,
It's a function of a company.
So that's where it gets a little harder, right? Because so the idea behind like a lot of what I teach is like you're trying to create passive income stream, right? And a lot of these businesses are very like they're quiet, they run in the background, they're not trying to get attention, they're just trying to create passive income for you so you can pay your bills.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're trying to build a large company that has a public face, that's completely different.
Yeah. Awesome.
Follow up on that, what's your philosophy on marketing successfully? Because like all these seem very like marketing critical, right? Like
Yes.
these to succeed.
Yeah, I mean like you're gonna need to run ads, you're gonna need to like get yourself out there. And I always say like go and have AI kinda like crawl the web for you and find out like where is your audience? Right? And once you find that audience, you wanna have those ads targeted heavily to that, right? So here's an example I give to a lot of people. If you run a TikTok shop that sells dog costumes, where should your ads be? This should be easy. No. Where should you run your ads? Really?
Sorry, what was your question?
So let me say it again. You run a little TikTok shop that sells dog costumes, right? It's little dog costumes. They look like a hot dog, they look like a little Frankie Weenie, all these things. Where should your ads be targeted?
Audiences who own pets, like pets,
Okay.
families.
But I need specifics. Very good. Where else?
Pet shops.
Where else? Or something huge that people go to and they love taking their pets to.
Dog parks.
Okay, very good. We need to go to the next level. Pet festivals.
It's like dog events, yeah.
Exactly. Pet festivals, because there's tons of pets there, right? And if you geofence that festival, guess what happens when you walk inside that fence and you search anything pet related? Your ad's gonna show up. Right? You're not trying to run your ad at a baseball field. You're not trying to run your ad at a university. You are geofencing your ads to where your audience is. Plain and simple. So if you know you have a lot of people that at the end of the day they gotta do well with their pets. Take them for a walk, right? So they go to dog parks. You should be geofencing every single dog park in Austin at what, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and running your ads. Right? Am I right?
Are you talking about running ads on Google again here?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that, or you can run it on the TikTok ad manager platform or Facebook or whatever. I think he had a question first, and then you. Did you have one? Okay. Yes, go ahead.
I'm new to the geofencing thing, so you can basically make it so that these ads are popping up on people's phones when they're at specific locations.
When they search.
Yeah.
When they search. Right.
Interesting. I didn't know about that.
So the one that I personally like is Snapchat. Like Snapchat is so geofenced, like perfect, that it's crazy what you can do with this. So here's an example of something I saw a long time ago. There was a guy who wanted to work for a company, right? And he's like, I don't know how the hell to get in that company. I want to work for them. I'm going to do something that nobody's done before. So he learned Snapchat ads allows you to geofence, like literally a building, okay? and he says, I need to get into that place and I wanna work there. So he created a special filter with his resume on it. And he knew everybody went to lunch between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. And he ran his filter during that time. So when people were swiping the filters, all of a sudden his resume popped up. And what do you think happened at 2 o'clock? That's right. He got a call from the CEO, said, hey, can you come in? I've never seen this before. Right? Because it works. Right? Like you have to be creative in this stuff. And Snapchat has been doing that for the past week, since they've started. How many heard me about that? Exactly. So, yeah. The young people knew about it. Yes.
You were back to the kind of social media template that you were saying that you could do this as a business opportunity to help, for example, small businesses create their social media. Back to his point about like authenticity, they may not feel comfortable necessarily automatically getting stuff into their social media feeds without seeing it. So is there a way that you could get it to a point to where it's ready for them to review, like maybe it's dropped in their Hootsuite or something like that?
Yes, and so what's nice about the automation workflows is it can send you an email that says, hey, please review this, right? And if you like it, you can respond back and say, yes, I approve. And the trigger is yes, right? So if it receives a yes back, then it means the workflow can continue. If it receives a no back, then that means it needs to go back and try.
And the system will automatically do that?
Readjust that, right? So it's gonna take a while to set that up, but people have been doing that for a while, yes.
I'll add on
Sure.
process. So basically you can take your ideas from Google Sheet, run them through LLM workflows, save them again into Google Sheet, and result ideas for your posts, images, and so on. And in that second list you can add a column that says ready to post. And when the status changed in the cell, it will automatically trigger other workflows to publish it on social media.
Yeah.
I saw a speaker maybe a year ago here who didn't use email. She was a contractor, and so she just would have ChatGPT like summarize all of her emails in a Slack, and then write a response email, and then she'd give it a thumbs up and it'd send it. She never used email, and she'd tell her clients that, and after like 2 days they stopped caring because it worked so well.
Yeah.
That was all just ChatGPT, Zapier, and Google, like Google ecosystem.
So like simple things like that, you know, they're on. So this one right here is personalization as a service, right? Now you're probably gonna get mad at what I tell you, but that's okay because that's why we're here. Okay? There are people out there who built an anti-startup that basically customizes your resume to the job that's posted. Now many people here who use AI and are good with AI, you would ask yourself, but can I just go to ChatGPT and customize my resume already? Well, that's great that you know that. Other people don't, right? So they're going to go to these services and they're going to upload their resume and they're going to pay $30 to have a custom resume made based on that job posting, right? And the website's gonna say, please provide the link of the job description, and we'll read the job description, redo your resume, send you a PDF, boom, you're done for $30, right? Many people are laughing, but guess who's not laughing? That company is making a ton of money with a simple idea, right? They're not trying to be huge, they're not trying to be like these big companies, it's just a very simple idea, yes.
This seems, to kind of go back to what you were saying, this seems almost like a test of your ability to market. Like making these products is much simpler than getting enough traction to generate cash flow. Is that a fair statement at this point?
Right, because again, the people who are very good at entrepreneurship, they did this the second ChatGPT 3.5 came out.
Right.
Right? And
They're just marketers.
Do you know who the best marketers are with this stuff? Scammers.
Yeah.
Scammers is where I learn my stuff. Like I don't learn stuff from MBA schools anymore because they're so far behind. Like their mentality is, I build, I sit down with a mentor, I build, and maybe I'll go raise some money, right? And then I'll build some more and I'll hire somebody, right? Scammers, they work in a 5-day window. Do you know why it's 5 days? Because by the 4th day, they've already been caught, right? And they have to shut everything down, right? So they launch their product, by day 3, they're already making 6 figures, and they shut it down to start the next one. That's how fast they move, right? And that's what I watch, because I'm just like, they're not trying to raise money, they're not trying to do anything else, they're trying to get money from people by scamming.
So other than geofencing, like, got any other great tricks up those sleeves of yours there?
So the other one is you can copy businesses that are successful.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what scammers do, right? So they will go in and they will look at a site and they will plug that site into ChatGPT and say, give me the code for this site. And then they will go to a emulator and say, hey, generate the image of what this site looks like and make it customized to Austin for this market and put these colors in, right? And all of a sudden, in 2 minutes, I have a new site that's customized to this, but it's only for Austin market. But it's the exact same company because I saw it in Minnesota. They're doing great, so it must be doing great here, right? Guess what? I can go find the ads that are running for that site because I can get a scraper that finds those ads, run the same ads here, boom, it's fine. Hands went up, yes.
Wait, can I add a point on to your question too? You can also get a Meta ad library if anyone here is not familiar with that. All ads that are run on Meta are just public data. So you can go and search all your competitors, see how long they've been running it, all their creatives and everything,
So there's no secret sauce into everything.
Yeah.
Right, I can go find the best ads that are run and just go copy it, and I can tell you already, I can use AI to make it better, which somebody has also done that, and just make it better and better and better, and I don't know what that does.
Do they post results or just the ads?
Just the ads. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom and see the most, like the longest active ones. So you'll see ones that have been running since like February.
Good
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you can see what the revenue return is, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Yes.
everything.
I was gonna add for feedback there was Reddit is also a great source to kind of post content. A lot of people are posting their AI tool, what they're building, because people are searching on Reddit and utilizing that search tool, but also Google picks it up, and now Instagram's also getting picked up by Google. So those are both platforms you can utilize to kind of like push whatever your product you're trying to push out there.
So after your question, I'm gonna say something that probably most people think about. Yes.
I'll add on this one as well. There are ad libraries on the internet where everyone can go, maybe pay some fees, and you will be able to see all ads that are running of famous companies, how they perform, and so on.
Where's this?
I can search for it, but I know for sure that it exists.
SEM Rush, Adplexity.
No.
Yeah. I mean, like if you pay for those tools, yeah, I mean it's gonna give you a return. Right? Like I know people who have SEM Rush. It's an amazing tool, right? It's fantastic at what you're doing. Because if everything out there is about marketing, then yes, you're playing the game against this kind of stuff. But
what are your thoughts on how we're kind of navigating into like the whole GEO era, or like the new era of GEO, right? And it's a natively non-click environment. And so it's just scraping the data and personalizing answers based off your prompts in ChatGPT, and that's becoming the new search engine, right? Essentially. So how do you optimize for that?
So I think in terms of something like that, if you're scraping for responses, that's what you're looking for, right? Like responses from social media?
Well, no, like I'm just saying like well, I feel like, alright, like any of these like templatized things that are just pushing out content or whatever, how do you build content, I guess, that would then be sourced and by AI, if that makes sense? Like ChatGPT goes and says, oh, this Reddit post said this, right? And it'll source it. So how do you make sure that your content's going to be able to be sourceable?
I mean, I would probably say it would be like good SEO on the stuff, right? Like you're gonna have to make sure like whatever AI tool you're using to generate it is matching that same SEO algorithm for that. Otherwise, yeah, you're gonna be shooting in the dark for quite a bit of time, right? Like right now, a lot of SEO agencies are trying to figure out how the hell do they get their stuff inside ChatGPT responses, and that's where the new advertising battlefield is happening, right? Because many people don't really know what that world looks like, right? But it works for those who've already mastered it. Did somebody have another hand up? Yes.
I think the trick they say is like having multiple sites reinforcing the same idea. This is based on that. If they have multiple sites regurgitating the same information,
sure.
That's how it can be optimized for a lot of like ChatGPT searches.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of like scammers who go in and what they'll do is they'll reiterate sites. So they'll have like a website builder that goes in and builds like 50 sites, right? And it's using that to generate the traction and that traffic, right? And as soon as that traffic dies down, they shut the sites off, right? They're trying to play the traffic game. Yes.
I was just gonna respond to your question. I just literally watched a video on this the other day, Buddy's podcast, if you're familiar with him, a lot of product videos. we can talk after if you want, but basically what you're saying is that, now with like ChatGPT and Google now giving you an AI summary, like it's basically killing SEO.
Yep, that's right.
But it's actually an advantage if you know how to actually implement SEO, because people are getting the top level answers in that AI summary, and then they're doing more specific searches after that. And then so it's more like mid-funnel SEO is what you want to focus on. Now.
Right.
So it's like no longer is like where's like the best place to vacation 2 hours from the US? Like that's going to be in a summary now, but once you get that answer, then it's like, okay, what are the best resorts in Cancun or whatever? That's like the mid-funnel SEO that you want to target now, because people are going to be making more specific searches and then more.
Right. I've also seen some websites go in and say like, hey, in order to find our stuff, use this prompt, right? So then they'll put in their branding inside that prompt, so you can go in and kind of train the model to see your site, right? So another thing that I've watched scammers do is they will monitor Reddit, they'll monitor Telegram, they'll monitor WhatsApp, all these things for conversations that people are having. And what they're doing is they're looking for conversations that have something to do with the business they're in, or some type of like situation they can plug themselves into, right? So for your business right here, you may be selling, let's say, baby products, right? And some mom is talking about this in a chat somewhere, and you have a notification that says, hey, this chat right here is going on, go respond, right? And you're plugging yourself into that conversation. And all of a sudden now you can sell your product, if that's what you're trying to do, right? It works because scammers know it works, right? That's why they do it, you know? So personalization as a service, in my opinion, is probably your best bet in terms of what people are looking for. And you can do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Like if I move to Austin and I come in and like I just landed here, it's 3 o'clock and I'm 21 years old, what do you think I'm searching for?
Cars.
Exactly, right? So what could I offer as a personalization service, right? I can go in and have a site that says, hey, enter your email, I will send you discount codes for all the bars in Austin. And you're gonna give me your email, because you're 21. That's why, yes?
I had a stupid question. I was gonna ask, how do you get all discount codes?
You can go and have partnerships with these bars, right? And I've met a lot of people who've done that, right? Like they will go and talk to bars and say, hey, can I drive traffic, right? And I know it works, right? Because you have these bar crawl people who've already been doing it for a long time, right?
You create a bot that goes and signs up for their newsletters and then grabs discount codes that come in on their newsletters,
Exactly.
or scrapes their websites and social.
So hopefully by the time you leave this place, like you're just like, man, I need to start 50 newsletters and I need to go build all these titles and I need to start watching what the scammers are doing. And so, yes. So, right here, this is what I'm gonna have y'all kind of figure out. Okay, automated newsletter example. So I want you to pick a topic, determine a workflow, figure out the price of your newsletter, find out how often your members want to get a newsletter with the content you offer, what is the metrics for success that you have, right? And y'all have time right now to kind of work on this. That's why I kind of set aside this little time right here. And then I want you to tell me, explain your workflow and what it does and why you think it works, right? So, I'll give you like, what, a couple minutes, things like that. You can use ChatGPT if you need to, or if you're really smart, your brain. And while you're doing that, I'm going to be bringing up a video that I want to show y'all that's super important.
So a while back.
Alright. So I'll let y'all work and then we'll get to this.
Can you bring your list back up?
What's that?
Can you show the list
sorry.
again?
Yeah. So again, just find a simple topic, determine a workflow. And while you're doing that, I will kind of create my own right there. Alright, so I finished. So whenever you're, just let me know. Anybody want to share theirs, or if you're still working, that's fine. Don't want to interrupt you. Yes?
Do you want to run through one?
Oh, no, if you want to share yours. I mean, I'm already finished with mine. I want to hear the feedback you know, right? I want to see what y'all came up with.
So, you create a newsletter for fantasy football, and that gets delivered once a week, and your workflow is you just aggregate all of the talking heads fantasy football points per player, but then you add in a different layer that bakes in a team's schedule, who they're playing against, and like the strength of their offensive line, defensive line, aggregate that against injury rates, and now you have like an injury smart fantasy football system that just uses like news references and point scores of other players, which you already have access for in this, and then you just deliver it weekly before each fantasy setup would typically go. And
okay. Yeah. What's the pricing on your newsletter?
That's the one thing I was getting started. I was like, you almost want to do it like weekly instead of monthly, but people want monthly, so I don't know. I think like $10.
Okay.
Because people are playing for $20 buy-ins, so they get $100, $200
okay.
if they win. So.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to share theirs? Yes.
I appreciate any feedback on the workflow.
Sure.
I think a veteran newsletter to find groups, different events that are happening that week.
Okay.
Aggregating specifically targeting Austin, and then also looking for discounts and partnerships. So I want to go out there and try to compile some of those resources and check for accuracy and design and schedule this end.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of like the discount codes and all things like that, having a web scraper that goes and finds like the top tourist sites for Austin might be a good way to find those discount codes, right? You can also scrape like X and see if anybody's posted things. Because a lot of times these companies will do promos on their X accounts, and then you can scrape all those discount codes, right? Yeah. Anybody else? No? Alright, let's see what I came up with, because I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, so I picked, college students because it's awesome, it's a young person's town. So I kind of went in and said like, hey, if it's a student-focused newsletter, here's some things you should pay attention to, right? Like your typical price range is $0 for like the first 14 days, right? Freemium models, low-cost subscriptions, events, driving perks, if they want more stuff. So it said, hey, market it between like a $15 to $30 CPM, which to me is a little high, like, right? Like, I figure like, if you're a college student, like, you're not gonna pay something that much, but like $5 to $10 is probably the sweet spot, right? So what kind of market areas does it say to go into? Live music, local events, just like you said, right? This is a young person's town. That's what they're interested in. Coffee, food trucks, cheap eats. Hey, if I can create a newsletter that does that, and I give them discount codes, buy one, get one free, I'm taking my friends to go get pizza, right? Then outdoor wellness activities. Like, how many times have you seen events in Zilker Park, Ladyburg Lake, Barton Springs, all this stuff? We have tons of rock climbing gyms that are looking for young students to go and get memberships at, right? So if I can get a program where, hey, I can get you for 2 months free, and you sign up for the rest of the year, that you're gonna use that discount code, right? So now you have thrift, vintage, sustainable shopping, tech startups, creative networking, And all these different areas right here appeal to young people, right? So they will subscribe between a $5 and $10 range. And if that means they get all these discount codes and all this stuff, they will definitely be using those newsletters. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna send that newsletter to their friends, like, hey, go sign up, because if you sign up, I get next month's free. Alright. Now everybody wants to start a newsletter. So my other one that I said right here was selling digital products on Shopify. So this is another test to determine, like, you know, how good are you at this stuff. I think I have, what is it? Oh no, I don't. Okay. So selling digital products, who here has used Gravity Write? Who knows Gravity Write? No, okay, let me see. I don't think I have it, but yeah, I didn't think I brought it up. But basically, Gravity Write is this really cool tool that can go in. Wait a minute, it might be over here. There we go. Okay, so Gravity Write, yes, you can go into Gravity Write. It's basically there's this really extensive like digital product creator, and you can go in and it can create coloring books for you. It can create penciled images, whiteboards, stained glass images, all this kind of stuff. It can even do like Ghibli art. It can even do like anime art. And what I've learned about this stuff is that there's a lot of people who go in and they will generate a ton of stuff and they'll make stickers, right? How many times have you been around to events and they sell stickers for like 25 cents, 50 cents each, and they just knock them out left and right, right? If you've gone to Etsy stores, you can go in and download an entire sheet of stickers, and there you go, right? It's super easy to generate. And you can go in there, and what I like about this is product designs, so I can take a look at like, hey, I can take all my stuff, throw it onto a product, see what it looks like, and generate those kinds of things. Animate avatars, I can go in and I can create all kinds of avatars for different things. I can animate them, have a script made in 11 labs, throw it in, and it sounds like they're talking, animated, done. And again, a lot of people have been doing this for a long time already, because you can use this, create your faceless TikToks, YouTube shorts, things like that. All right, so I know I said I was going to show you this thing. Please don't get scared, but we got a little bit of time to watch it.
Back, I started noticing some ads for a company called Grace Bags. And the story goes that Grace, a kind-hearted elderly woman, has been handcrafting beautiful leather bags for years. But it's the end of an era for Grace, so she's holding her farewell sale.
Grace is offering up to 80% off in her farewell sale. Once they're gone for good. Don't miss out.
I thought, oh, how nice. And then I kept scrolling. But the sponsored ads kept popping up, trying to reel me back in. And I thought, you know, maybe I ought to check these out. But then I started to get a little suspicious about this Grace woman. Wait a minute, is she even real? I take her photo over to siteengine.com, which is able to detect whether or not an image is made from AI. And it turns out this picture is. Wait, what? There's no Grace? Who then is making these high-quality handcrafted leather bags? And who are all these people raving about them?
These aren't just bags. They're pieces you keep forever.
Grace and her husband have spent over 34 years perfecting their leather bags.
Imagine carrying a bag that holds 30 years of love, dedication, and craftsmanship.
Okay, something's definitely off with this guy. Nobody gets this emotionally invested in a leather bag. So I'm gonna try to find out who he is. I use a tool called Pimize. It's pretty good at scanning faces and uncovering where else they've popped up online. And what do you know? I think I found him.
Are you wondering how hair loss can be reversed naturally?
That's our guy. And here he is again.
Save thousands of dollars with the Lepro LED UFO High Bay Light.
Oh, he's an actor on Fiverr. You can pay this guy to say whatever you want.
I'm a professional spokesperson and actor with decades of experience.
Well, maybe it's just a coincidence that he also happened to buy a bag for his wife and make a testimonial about it. Let's look at another guy who's also in love with these bags.
You know, it reminded me of my grandma. How she put so much love into everything she made.
Oh, how funny. He's also got a Fiverr account.
I have been an actor for 20 years, and I have appeared in many movies, TV shows, and hundreds of TV commercials.
And it turns out that Grace Bags has a YouTube channel where they've uploaded all their testimonials.
This is unlike anything I've ever seen. A bag from Grace's collection is one to cherish for a lifetime.
These are all actors with Fiverr accounts. And the best part, the mastermind behind this channel didn't even bother editing the clips before uploading them.
I stumbled upon the store. You know, I was scrolling through my feed the other.
Turns out Grace Bags isn't some heartwarming handcrafted leather bag business. It's just someone using AI and hiring actors to produce fake glowing reviews. But what do the real customers get when they order from Grace Bags? Well, the only thing authentic here is their disappointment. These luxury leather bags are actually just cheap vinyl knockoffs made in China. Now this is where things get wild. Suddenly I learned that Susan's Bags is also shutting down. Then Victoria's Bags, Paul Richards, Tanner's Shoes, so many beloved elderly artisans all conveniently having their final sales at the exact same time.
Once they're gone for good.
Once they're gone forever.
Tanner's Shoes is gone forever. Once they're gone, they're gone.
And when I go to their page and select About, then Page Transparency, I can see that these pages are being managed from the Netherlands, Vietnam, and Indonesia. This is so weird, but then I get an ad from Henry's.
Hello there, I'm Henry, and I want to share a bit of my story with you. For over 33 years, I've been crafting watches by hand, and it's
of course you have, Henry.
My life. There's something special about creating a watch that stands the test of time.
I know you're so invested in this, and it's pretty crazy. All right, who here knew this stuff? Who here knew this was already going on? Good. All right. And again, these people are making six figures, these scammers, right? And they're very good at this stuff, right? Because they have a very specific template that they follow, and they go in, they launch it, they understand what they're doing, and once they hit their numbers, they shut it down, right? Because they know they're going to get found out, right? So this is kind of what he does. He looks for scammers. He kind of goes over all this stuff. In fact, one of the ones that I thought was really interesting was how scammers go in and they copy businesses. And this is where it gets really interesting, because what they do is they copy the business exactly. The URL is like maybe an additional letter. And people will go and purchase stuff on the site, and then they'll go to the actual owner and say, hey, I have a receipt, an email that says I purchased this from you, and they get into a huge argument, right? But these scammers are nowhere in the US, right? So there's nothing they can do. And that's how it works, right? And as soon as the site is flagged and everything, they shut the site down and they move on to something else. And it's very quick, very fast, right? But what you'll notice here is they're very good at marketing. They go in and use UCG, right? Everybody know UCG? Okay. So then you go in, you basically just run a whole bunch of UCG content, and that's how you run your ads, right? Because they look more authentic than something else. So, any questions on that? For those who are new to this, sorry, but old people are not selling timeless watches, right? So, I know. But again, this goes back to marketing and what you were saying, right? Like everything that you're going to be doing is going to come down to how you're going to market your stuff, right? If you run a simple newsletter and all you're doing is just curating like, hey, this is the weather today and this is what's going on, yes, people will probably buy that newsletter. Don't ask me why. But even if you sell it for $2, you can run ads on it and it can still generate something, right? If people buy toothpicks, yes, you can sell all kinds of stuff. Yeah, thank you for coming. But that's kind of why I show these things, because going back to here and selling digital products, again, it's all the same thing. So if we go back over here to, let's say, stickers, right? So if I go into Etsy and I look at stickers, look at how they're doing their stuff, right? Like a lot of this stuff right here is all AI generated at this point. And they're going through and basically just generating these images, putting them all together, and they're just selling them. And most of what I'm seeing here is only popping up because probably these people paid ads to be at the top. You know, Etsy is a marketplace that I stopped recommending because you have to pay to be on Etsy to list an item before you can sell it. Right? So if I want to list 3 products, I have to pay first per product and for my account before I can start listing, and before I can sell it. So if I click on one of these, I can go in here and see like, hey, this is all stickers right here for $3.99. I can get, 300 pieces right there, and it just shows all these reviews. So here are other ones that I sell, and some are other stickers. And again, this is all stuff that you can go in and generate with AI. So again, it is a saturated market, so don't think like, oh man, this is for the taking, right? The other one that's huge is wall art prints. If y'all seen this. So how many of y'all have seen these kinds of things pop up, right? Like people are going in and they're creating all kinds of wall art displays, which is basically just AI generated, and it's put on a special type of material, and it's shipped to your house, and boom, you can put it on your wall. Right? So.
How long till you think what we're talking about here, selling digital products on Shopify and templated workflows and the like, how long do you think until this market as a whole becomes saturated?
Well, it's already saturated. Like it's very saturated right now. And that's why like when I sit down with people.
Except for the newsletters, obviously.
See, the newsletters is very interesting because like it's a niche market, right? Like I can sell a very niche thing, but the thing is, unless I'm running a website that advertises it, I can just go directly to you and be like, hey, sign up for my newsletter, right? I don't really need to run a website for that, unless you want to. I go to the newsletter meetup here in Austin, and I can tell you all the people that I meet who run newsletters. It's very interesting what they do. Like there's one that does Austin dogs, right? If you've seen New York City dogs, that famous Instagram account, they basically copied the same model and they did it for Austin, right? So every time they're walking around and they see a cute dog in a cute outfit, they take a picture, post it on Instagram, and then that gets put in the newsletter, and there it is, right?
But it's all saturated, so it's, but still something you'd recommend here just because there's interesting ways of marketing whatever we're making essentially?
Right, because I can go in and say like, hey, I'm gonna send you a newsletter that tells you all the newest acts that are coming into Austin in the next 3 weeks that are unknown artists. Right, like I don't want the big artists, I want the ones that are coming to 6th Street that are just trying to make it, right? So I can go in and either hire a virtual assistant that says, hey, I want you to contact every business owner on 6th Street, ask who your next bands that are coming in, and I'm gonna contact them, and my assistant's gonna go and put all that in the newsletter, right? That's easy to do. People have been doing that for a long time as well, right? And that can be applied to all kinds of stuff. You can get a virtual assistant who is human that uses AI to go in and find all kinds of stuff around the city for you. And it may not even be stuff in Austin that you want. It may be something completely different, right? Like, hey, I'm lactose intolerant and I want a new recipe every 2 days or something, right? I was talking to somebody about music. I said, what if I made a newsletter that just sent you a newsletter every day in the morning at 9 a.m. that gave you 3 new songs from a different time period, right? They're not popular, it's out there, just something different, right? For $2 a month. Yes.
How do I frame this, I guess? So, like, let's say, like, you're running a newsletter, like you've been saying, for $2 a month per person. Just like what tips do you have to getting off the ground to offset your initial costs of doing all the tokens and the MailChimp server costs and all these things that you will have to incur up front? And just, I don't know, it's like how do you get 500 people on your newsletter, right? It's like that's gonna cost you.
So sit down with AI and start going through and be like, hey, can you look at the web traffic in Austin that tells me what the trends are that people are searching, right, for the last month? And build me 5 different newsletter channels that I might be interested in running, right? And kind of go off of the metrics of that, right? And if you know that there's a high search volume for new artist bands, run a newsletter on that, right? And if the numbers right there match, then I would say build a newsletter for free first. You need to build your traction, right?
Yeah.
That's why you have a free version for all these AI tools, right? It needs to build their numbers. So then you say, hey, after 2 months, they switch over to a paid plan, right? If you like it, you get 2 months free, right? And all of a sudden they see the value in it, right? So now, if you can also change it to where, hey, I build my first 500 subscribers. Once I hit 500, then either you offer a discount for the first 500 people and then start charging the rest, or you just say, hey, I'm switching over to a paid plan after 500.
And what would you recommend for the initial outreach and go to market to get those 500?
So that's going to be up to you. You can run Google Ads at $5 a day, or you can start going to all these venues and have a QR code on your shirt. Like literally get a QR code, put it on your shirt, and be like, hey, I run a newsletter that tells you where the latest artists are, right? You go out there Friday, Saturday nights, people will scan your QR code, right? They may not even know what they're doing because they're so drunk. Yep. But they can scan it because they're drunk.
And you can write your drinks off.
Exactly, right? And then you become the guy that's like, hey, where's the QR code guy? I need to scan him, right?
So do you have any, like, because there is an inherent risk. You got to do work. You got to spend the $5 a day on Google Ads and like here. Do you have any just high-level recommendations on like, watch out for this, or this is a pretty successful pathway I've seen lately, or just to be able to assess what concepts might be more functional than others?
What do you mean functional?
Make you more money, more
I mean, if we're
successfully
talking money here,
deployable,
like, we
or
could just start selling feed pics and you'll just make money, okay? I mean, like, if that's the case, you just need to make money, just do that, right?
just
And
do
you-
what, sorry?
Sell feed pics, you know?
Feed pics.
Right?
Okay.
And again, you don't even need to do that, you can just generate feed pics now with the app.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, and just send a feed pic a day, right? And you get a newsletter, sign up, $5, you know? If it needs to be functional, then you figure out who your audience really wants to be, right? Like if you know you're trying to provide extreme value, and you're just like, hey, I want to help engineers in this realm learn some cool tool, right? Then that market is, you're gonna target only engineering firms. And you're gonna reach out to them, have conversations like, hey, can I do a lunch and learn with you all? I run a newsletter that talks about this. That's high level engagement, right? That's a very niche audience. And if you know that, hey, I'm just looking for 100 subscribers at $20 a pop, that's what you're looking for.
So
right?
choose your niche and just really go all in on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because again, once you hit your threshold, which whatever number your threshold is, it's gonna start running itself.
Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for, right? Because your referral system that you create is vital to it growing. Because if it says, hey, you bring in somebody else, you get 2 months free, right? And then if that person brings in somebody else, they get 2 months free, right? So there's some incentive there as a referral system, right? And then it slowly starts to build on itself, you know? And then what do you do once you hit 1,000 subscribers?
Party?
Paywall.
Actually, yes, you host an event. You host an event and you bring in more people and you can message all your 1,000 people who are already paying you, right? And you say, hey, I'm gonna host an event, and you bring them in, and if you bring in a friend that night, I will give 3 months free.
And make this event paid.
What's that?
Make this event paid, don't make it
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Right?
There you
So
go.
you can bring in sponsors now, you can bring in all kinds of stuff, right? Because once you hit 500 subscribers, what can you do with your newsletter that makes you even more money?
Yeah.
Anybody have an idea?
Sponsorships.
There you go. That's right. Now you sell ad space on your newsletter. Right? And that's why I always tell people, like, the conversion rate is 1,000 subscribers, averages around 80,000 here in return. Right? Because you're selling ad space, you're selling courses, you're selling one-on-ones, all kinds of stuff for your clients. You know? Because all of a sudden you're providing value to them, if that's what your newsletter does. If it's just like, hey, here's the coolest trips to take around the world, then that's for a travel audience. You know?
Yeah, that's what I was saying about threshold, because instead of charging people to get that, I'm thinking of a model where I would be charging people to get in front of my audience. And so you're saying that 1,000 is typically a good threshold to.
Yeah, because if you're doing everything correctly, like you're providing courses, you're selling merch, you're providing events, you're doing all kinds of one-on-ones with people, consulting, that provides value, right? And people want to share that newsletter with more people, right? You're not trying to be the New York Times, you want to be focused on a very niche audience, right? And because of that, you provide that immense value, right? There's a group here, it's called She Hit Refresh, and this is a group for women who, they've already kind of had a mini career, and they want to try something different. So that's why she called it She Hit Refresh, and she brings together women who are 30 and above, and takes them on personal trips around the world, right? And she has a very niche newsletter just for that, you know? So that's something to think about in terms of just like, what are you trying to, you know, look at, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a newsletter, it could just be courses. Many times when I tell people, nobody's stopping you from going to Skillshare, starting an account, and posting courses, right? Like you can go to Udemy and start uploading like, hey, let me show you how to cut a fruit correctly, right? People will pay to watch that, by the way. Like, let me show you how to make a PB&J at 11 o'clock at night. People will pay to watch that. Right? Like, it's crazy what people will pay for. And there's a lady I remember watching a long time ago where she would start her YouTube channels where like, we're gonna start with this bottle of wine and we're gonna make this recipe. And let's hope we can finish it. And the bottle, right? And all of a sudden her numbers just skyrocketed because as she's cooking, she's drinking and she's getting drunk. And the name of her channel is My Drunk Kitchen. Because you don't know whether or not she's gonna be able to finish that recipe because she's so drunk. But you know what happened to her? She got book deals, she got a TV show, and she just released another cookbook. Right? And that channel's been around for over 15 years. Yeah. But it took somebody who was 20 years old at the time, who didn't really have a lot of friends, and she says, I'm gonna try this thing called YouTube, and I'm just gonna upload videos because I have no friends. I'm just gonna start drinking and see if I can make something. And now she's a millionaire, right? So there's an audience for everything. And that's kind of why like I put these little things together. It's not a flashy presentation, but like the value of what it is you're getting can be huge for somebody, right? Like, hey, there's a lot of women out there who need help finding shelters for protection, right? Like domestic abuse. I can't tell you how many times I've come across newsletters that cover domestic abuse, right? And it's like, hey, you slip them a little letter, like subscribe to my newsletter, it's free, it's gonna help you, right? For some women, that's what they're looking for, you know? Yes?
How do you come across those newsletters?
Well, I was actually in psychology, so I was part of like the mental health groups. And so a lot of these groups right there, they have these special newsletters that are kind of private, and they will share them with women. They'll like slip a little like note, see like, hey, I kind of see you're in a relationship that doesn't look very healthy. You should check this out, right? So, but yeah. But again, there's the world of free newsletters versus the paid newsletters, right? And that's a whole other business model, right? Why would anybody give away a newsletter for free? Because I have a paid version of my newsletter, right? And if I want more information, I'm going to subscribe to your paid version, and I get way more information, right? So, but again, you can do this with courses, you can do this with merch, all kinds of stuff, right? Like that's why, like, who here knows? I'm sure y'all know this. Hopefully you know this. This place right here, school, right? I'm sure some of you are already subscribed to some of the school communities. This place is huge, right? Like school is something you can go in and just think of it like a very interactive newsletter, right? Everybody in your school basically is part of a very specific audience, and you go in and you provide live one-on-ones with people, right? Like, hey, tonight on my Twitch, everybody should have gotten a private link. Go check it out. Starts at 7 p.m. And you know that because you're paying for that group, and you're going to pay for that live stream to watch what other people are talking about. Right? So if I go in here, I can look for all kinds of stuff that matches my audience. Right? The AI automation hub, I know that guy right there. The world is a simulation. And if you look at this, this has 1.3K members, all paying $60 a month to be in this group. Right? And yet he's got 231K and it's free. Right? And this guy right here, 1K for 55 a month, and this one has 2.9 and 33 a month, right? So it obviously works, you know? Yeah, actually not. Why not? Right? At $200 a month, I got 156 members paying. So that's pretty good per month. Any questions on this? Because this right here is something that's also huge as well. Yes?
Do you also have advice for like building your community from scratch? For example, like I know, okay, so let's say that 50 of them, let's say that 100 people are in the group. I know that a lot of creators, they start off with some free spots and then they have to pay. Now it looks like they have like a lot more paid members. So do you recommend that route or a different route as far as growing the group? And then once you're inside the group, like sometimes, you know, I've gone through the schools and then there's not much activity or commenting in the actual community itself. So like, unless you're like really, really passionate about it, like want to be online like that, then, you know, how do you gauge?
So a lot of them, what they do is they will do live streams almost every night to keep that engagement going, right? The reason why they do that is because one, they want the engagement inside their communities. Right? So they will say, hey, if you have a question, go comment your question so I can look at the chat, right? And that can either be through the Discord server, or it can be through the chat itself on Twitch, or whatever you're using, right? Because that's going to create your engagement. So if I know that I'm covering a certain topic, hey, go comment what your question is so I can go back and check it, right? And if I didn't get your question during the live stream, I will make sure to personally reach out to you and answer your question, right? That to you is going to keep that engagement in that community. You know? Yes.
So right, I mean, well, like, I guess I can make this, I guess, personal to my company. Like we have 160 67 paying members right now in our community at 30 a month, and it's we've seen steady growth, but like how do we start seeing that more exponential growth? And I feel like everything you've been talking about today, like I mean I've been using NAN for all my automations and everything, but I'm doing all the like marketing posts. I'm doing constant.
How many live streams are you running a night?
Yeah, I need to be doing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, not
because
good.
what I've learned about social media influencers is that, like when I go in tonight, I have a ton of stuff I have to watch. Like, I just have to watch it, like I have to keep up with this, right? One of the things I've learned is these social media marketing agencies that only work with influencers, they tell them, if you're going to be our client, you're going to be on live stream every night, right? You know what they tell their influencers to do almost once a week at least? They tell them to do at least a 12-hour live stream. Why?
Coverage.
Because they're trying to cover time zones. That's what they're doing. And they're trying to get to a 24-hour live stream, right? And the reason why is because the 24-hour live stream is matched up with other influencers. So their audiences are blending, right? So if I have an influencer here and I have an influencer here and we're all live streaming together and we're all doing a 24-hour live stream challenge, their audience is going to blend with my audience and their audience is going to blend with our audiences, right? So our numbers go up exponentially. And the agency requires their influencers to do that at least once a week. Why? Because guess who gets paid as well? The agency. Because if they're not getting paid, why do they have Miss Finance? Right? It's a job, you know? And if you're trying to make that your income, it should be treated as a job. Right? So your live streams are what creates that interaction, right? Because guess what? You want to see me in real time, I'm on a live stream, ask all your questions now. Right? Versus, oh, I can go back and watch a video when I'm home and I know that it's not live. Right? Because once the live stream is over, it's over. I can't go back and watch it, there's no recording of it, it's done. You know? And that creates what?
Urgency.
Urgency, FOMO.
Scarcity.
There you go. Right? And that's why live streams are so huge. So if I go onto Twitch right now, I can see all kinds of live streams going on. There's a guy who has like 8 million followers, and all he live streams are people's Ring camera footage. Yes, that's the thing, right? There was another person who just puts on makeup. And you're like, okay, I can put on makeup too, right? But what makes it interesting is their room is very colorful, right? And it just creates engagement. Right? So hopefully that kind of gives you a sense of like why people do live streams. Because you're going to do a live stream yourself, and you're going to find out nobody's watching you. This is stupid. I went to this class, he told me to live stream, nobody's watching me, I've been doing it for 2 months. I will never go to this class again, I'm not gonna ever pay for this stuff, right? And then all of a sudden you find out 3 months later, it's the algorithm that's watching you, not you. Because like I've said before, if I know I'm on every night at 7 p.m., why is that important? Because the algorithm needs to know that you're on at 7 p.m. Because if you want that audience to get targeted, the algorithm needs to know you're gonna be there at 7 p.m. Otherwise, if you're not there at 7 p.m., it has no reason to bring your audience to you. Right? And that's why they do it. So, yes?
How is it, this might be a dumb question, but where are we at in terms of having, like, using vibe coding and AIs to make fully consumer-ready apps? Like, is that pretty straightforward at this point? Like, I know you can vibe code, but that can be an extensive process, or is there like... That's the code I run. Oh, is it?
Not gonna plug it, but yeah. Hold on real quick, I'm trying to bring it up. Okay, do y'all know Indie Hacker? Okay, good. So for those who know Indie Hacker, you know that on here, you're always gonna come across at least 5 articles that say build in public. Build in public, build in public, build in public, right? What does that mean?
Build in public?
Yes, what does that mean?
Show your work.
Show your work. Like, I'm gonna put my camera right here, I'm gonna live stream myself working, and I'm gonna show what it's like to actually build something. Right? I'm gonna show you the bad days, I'm gonna show you the good days, I'm gonna show you my phone calls with clients that turn me down, and I'm gonna show you my wins and my losses. Right? Because guess what? When you post only the pretty stuff, I'm not interested. Because you have no relationship to that person. But if I see that you're struggling and I'm struggling, I relate to you more because you're human now. Right? So now all of a sudden, like, I want to celebrate your wins. And if you turn around like, guys, I just closed my first client, they're paying $50,000 a month, all of a sudden, all those comments start flooding in. Congratulations, awesome job, you are amazing. I remember, I've been here since day one. Yes?
How do you recommend implementing AI agents into building in public? Because I think that's pure authenticity. And that's kind of what I was getting to earlier with my question.
So, building AI agents, if you mean like building the agents
like,
in public,
no,
is that
like
what you mean? Or building agents to run the content?
Building automations to help you create the content consistently to be always pushing out in public, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so for that, I would definitely say like build at least like 5 different AI agents that one do quality assurance on what you're posting, one that does the script writing, one that does the video generations, and one that does the image generations, right? Like if that's what you're looking for, like good thumbnails, and then make sure that it does its homework, right? So before it gets pushed out, there's an agent that checks like, does this work? Does it match our branding message? And is it the correct time to post? Like it's constantly checking this stuff. So if it says yes, it gets posted, you move on, and it does this 10 times a day, right? And that right there will give you the traction you need. So when you go live at night at 7 p.m., guess what happens? People are watching. Because it knows that, hey, 10 o'clock you posted, 11 o'clock you posted, 1 o'clock you posted, and all of a sudden people are catching you. And why are they catching you? Because this world is different, right? There's time zones. I always tell people, if your audience is in China, when should you be live streaming? Right? Think about that. I know somebody who gave me a brilliant idea, and that was they hired 2 virtual assistants in China. They said, when I post on YouTube, I post for my American audience at a certain time. And their virtual assistants in China post at their time in the evening, so their audience sees their videos on their YouTube versions in China. And their audience numbers exploded, right? Because that's a huge market to cover, right? So then I always tell people, like, great, go find the niche video markets around the world that you're trying to break into, right? Like YouTube is everywhere, yes, but if you go to India and you look up what YouTube streamer do they use, it's different, right? Yes, they still use YouTube, but there's also niche ones as well, you know?
One thing I've been doing is I'm taking like the entire chat that I'll have with Claude, using Claude, on different like experiments for prompts and workflows. And then I built 2 separate prompts. One creates long form articles and the other one creates LinkedIn posts. So I just like dump that into an input, that the chat while I'm building the workflows, and it creates content from that.
And that's perfect, right? Like you can even take that and you can say, give me 5 courses that I can produce from this, right?
Right, yeah, he was asking about like content marketing, so that's why I mentioned that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's great as well. Who here knows Teachable? Okay, so Teachable is another platform that you can go and upload courses at, right? I know a lot of creators who go in here, and what they will do is they will drop a whole bunch of courses. They will go over to their YouTube channel or TikToks, they will do their stuff, and they just happen to briefly mention, hey, if you want to learn more, go check out my courses on Teachable, right? And all of a sudden you start to see there's a huge traffic driver to those courses, right? If you are a marketing person, like, hey, how do you do your marketing? What do you use? How do you start, right? I can't tell you how many times I've watched people who are just like, I just want to know what a marketing person looks like in their job.
It's not that exciting.
It's not that exciting, right? But you know what? If you live stream that to somebody who's just starting off in marketing, they're gonna look at that as like, that's what it looks like. That's what that job looks like. When I talk to young people about TikTok, what goes on during finals? Do y'all know what young people post during finals? They post live streams of them studying. You're laughing. I know you're laughing. But you know what? Their numbers go up a lot. Why?
Because like other young audiences can relate, and it's kind of motivating for them to be doing it.
That's right. Because you're gonna look at that person that you've been following, and you're like, oh shit, that's what studying looks like, right? That medical student who's studying for their final exam, that's what studying looks like. I should be doing that, right? That's social proof, right? So all of a sudden you realize like, hey, my law school friends, they're streaming their study sessions, they're not talking, they're not doing anything, they're just studying. And people watch that, right? What happens? Their numbers go up. It sounds silly, but in 6 months' time, I always tell parents, if your kid has nothing to do, tell them to build an audience. Because when they're 18, 19 years old, guess what they get to do? They can decide if they want to go to college, but they can also afford to buy a house. And they can afford to take care of themselves. You know, because they built an audience. You know. So this one right here, I will also tell you, this is the other popular one that came out before them, Skillshare. I remember this when it first started and it was like a huge deal. And here you can go on here and post all kinds of stuff. And I always tell people like post your courses all over, right? And even Udemy, right? Like there's nothing stopping you from doing this stuff, right? You can go in here, get a camera, get a green screen, post something, and there you go, right? So yeah, thanks for coming. I know it's 8 o'clock, so the last part I'm going to cover is what I always show people, my books. Because I was working on stuff. This little stack right here, Main Street Millionaire by Cody Sanchez. I'm sure if you all know her, she might be famous. And then The Future of No Work. This one came out during South by. So The Last Human Job, because it will happen, you know. So, and then my other favorite book that I really enjoyed, Mastering AI. So if you've never read this book, this is a really good book to read. This one right here is a must if you're trying to learn automation. So this is the new automation mindset, and it shows you all kinds of workflow systems to build out for businesses. And then the art of small business social media, very detailed. And this guy just came out. This one right here is Some Future Day, how AI is going to change everything. It's a little scary, but you know, we've all seen Ex Machina, so we're okay. But yeah, that one right there. So if you have more questions, you can book a call with me. That's my QR code right there. We do have the room until 8:30 if you want to ask questions or network for a little bit. I'm just going to kind of clean up. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. If you want. And if you want to connect on LinkedIn, this is my LinkedIn right here. And I do have a feedback form. So once you do this LinkedIn stuff, I will put up the feedback form.
Yeah, nice meeting you too. Want to try contact phone?
Sure, yeah, sure. I'll get you anybody who needs parking validation, if you park in the garage downstairs, right here.
Yeah, great. 901. 801.
Yeah, you still made it there.
Hey Logan, how you doing?
Yeah, for sure. Hit me up anytime.
Yeah, sounds good. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been looking. Good to see you. How are you doing? Pretty good restaurant. Of course. I think
We're getting better. Well, I mean,
well, they give some good prices, so it's still also 9,000 treaty pay, DMV services, and one but it does put your contract and stuff like that. And they might just I really want to get
No, Chris, the guy who hosted it. Right?
Yeah.
The guy who hosted it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to get a little bit local. Film it and like stuff. I did like 3 of them. Oh yeah. Yes. This was like 3 years ago. I would keep it down. Yes. No, actually I have. So I'll focus on some current prospects.
I hired an agency that is like this for me, then I can't do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta give it to somebody else. Thank you for that way. I've built a platform over here, platform that does all that as well, and so I'm trying to connect into different areas. What do you want to do?
right?
Like I've done.
If it's something like, hey, I can sit down and build a course out tonight, and all of a sudden, like, I can upload to Skillshare by 11 p.m., and that video is making, you know, say $100 a month, that's $100 extra. So to give you perspective, there's a guy that I learned to,
It's very specific.
on how to learn medical terms easy. Right? He made one course. And then that video he made, that course that he made, still pays all his bills today. He made that course over 20 years ago. Explain to me the business model. How did he do that?
You mean it's just using his own experience?
Oh,
and then push it
so
online?
he had a very dramatic brain that he could take complicated medical terms and make it easy to pronounce, right? And that's the course he taught medical students, how to learn them quickly. How did you get that course to so many
He goes to providers.
How did he do that?
Charging.
He's only one person.
Started doing things for not for profit.
Started contacting the person all around the world that were not professors and said, hey, would you be interested in showing my personal budget, right? And all of a sudden, he did that for the first year or two, and he got into all the medical schools around the world. And that's why it still pays all his bills. So when you think like that, you're just like, what can I build that I can distribute that everybody can afford? Because medical students, they all have to learn these terms. And if I can find a better way to coach them, I'm gonna pay that much. So yeah.
Two lines of text.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks like
So-
No, that's crazy. I was like, wait, that could no way like, you know.
I thought it was two windows. No, that's pretty fine.
Yeah, I wish your computer had me pull that.
So actually, this is a social browser that manages memory for tabs very well, right? So basically, the tab that I'm at right now, all the other tabs are dead, right? So it's not even using any memory. So this one is quality, so I don't really use them to use browsers.
sure.
Yeah, but all these management is phenomenal.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Analyze them.
Yeah, that's what people always guys about my
I used to
I would definitely say like, you know, I'm gonna try to build something and just do something right. Because tonight I got into social media things, just to see like what the terms are.
Long story
It's
short,
crazy like what
I had a good
is, but
role
you know, it works.
running a
Right? Like I've watched people go from having no followers
like text,
to run a market around the clinics to offer the So from that point, I started understanding about Medicare, payers, credentialing, and just the whole gamut of healthcare, right? And I found that a big issue is that
So I always say like the age of a marketing in a school should be like 100, right? Because they got 2 million followers, they know their